Hey guys, it is June, which means it's time for May wrap-ups and June TBRs. Alright, so my month of May went a little bit differently than I had intended. I ended up not reading The Shadows Heir, which was a mass market paperback. I actually only read the first few pages and then I put it down and I never picked it back up. I don't know, it just didn't catch me. I just really didn't want to read it. I did a little bit of shuffling, and I ended up actually getting my hands on the third book in the Fifth Wave series. So I kind of picked up on that instead, but I didn't get as much reading in this month as I had hoped I would. My schedule got kind of crazy, got an infection, had a bunch of weird stuff going on, so it really wasn't that great of a month. But I got 4.5 books read, so here is my wrap-up for May. So the very first one that I read in just a few days, and that is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. Oh. I really enjoyed this book. It was very captivating. It didn't hold me on the edge of my seat the entire time, but it definitely kept me interested. I didn't really want to put it down. I wanted to keep reading. I think that I really enjoyed his snarky writing style, which I think all had to do with the main character of Cassie, and I really think that it's her perspective that really drew me in, just because I'm very sarcastic and snarky myself, so I enjoy that. So this is definitely a recommended. I'm going to be trying to get reviews in probably not all of the books that I've read. What I'm probably going to try to do is, if I'm reading a series, wait until I finish a series and do a review on the series and then mention things on the individual books as needed. That way I have fewer videos that I have to record. I'll probably also do individual book reviews as like I either really like the book or I really didn't like the book, and then it'll give me more time to talk specifics on why I did or why I didn't really like it. If it was kind of in the average, in the middle, I'll probably do a small review in the TBR and whether I would, or wrap up rather, and whether I would recommend it to you or not. So that was my first one, and then after I read that, let me keep these separate, I picked up The Young Elites by Marie Lu, and I'd never read a series by Marie Lu. She had her Legend series out, and I didn't get that. I might, maybe. I didn't enjoy this book as much as I thought I did. At first, I kind of liked it, but it was really angsty. And I don't really think I liked the overall direction of the plot, like where it went. And I don't think I cared for the character development in it. I'm saying I don't think because I haven't really sat down to analyze it specifically. I know I didn't like how it ended, and that really shut me off to the rest of the series. I don't know if I'll finish it. I might not. I probably won't buy the next copy or the next book in the series, which is the Rose Society, but I might rent it or borrow it from somebody. I mean, I would probably give it 3 stars, so if you like a good story and you like fantasy, then I think you will probably enjoy this book. It might not be on the top of your list, but I liked the world that she built. I liked the abilities of the people in it. Overall, I just know that I personally did not at all like the way that it ended. It was very disappointing to me. It left me very disenfranchised, which I don't know if that entirely accurately describes how I felt, but we'll go with it. After I read The Young Elites, I picked up The Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. This is one I had bought back in December. So this was a birthday gift. And I read The Giver by Lois Lowry, and I really liked it. It was so different from anything I had ever read before. I did do a review video jointly with Stephanie, and we did it with The Ocean at the End of the Lane as well, which I really liked that book. This is a companion, and there's 4 companions in this set. The other one is The Sun and The Messenger, and I'm hoping to get those. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this book. The thing about Lois Lowry's writing is that things are very simple. It's not a very difficult book to read. The setting is simple. Plot isn't necessarily boring, but it's not extremely complex. And her characters, at least in The Giver and Gathering Blue, they're like mainly children, and I feel like I'm transported back to my childhood and just things that I would pretend that I was doing when I was playing, and I guess maybe that's my main connection with it. But I really like how she writes. I like how she simplifies things. I just really like the childhood perspective that she puts into all the writing. It's third person with her stuff, but I really enjoy it. So I would recommend picking them up. They're not big books, so they're not too hard to get through. I think this one was 241 pages, and I mean it's the text in it really isn't too awful, so I like it. So that's that one. Then I picked up The Infinite Sea, which is the second book in the Fifth Wave series by Rick Yancey, and again, I really enjoyed this. He changed things up a little bit in this book, but in the first one, you have mainly Cassie's point of view, and then he throws in another character's point of view. But Cassie is the only one that's written in first person. The others are written in third. But when you get, which normally I don't mind, but sometimes multiple POVs annoy me because it can be confusing. And jumping back and forth between characters and how they are interpreting things can be aggravating. But I appreciated that in the very first novel that he didn't. He stuck with first person only with Cassie, and when he wrote about others, he wrote in third person. Because then he was very objective about it, and you didn't have to really understand that character thoroughly to know how they were seeing things. Like Cassie, you got to know really well, because you got everything from her point of view. Which I'll do a far more in-depth review of these books, because I really enjoyed them. The second book, the other people that he writes about, all of them are first person. But because of the first book, you've been with these characters long enough that the transition is easier, and he actually pulls it off quite well, in my opinion, writing multiple POVs. So, while that was one thing in Marie Lu's book that I was kind of like, I don't really like it in this setting, I actually really enjoyed it in this one. I'm not sure I could tell you specifically why. Maybe different character types, different personality types of the characters. That could have a big difference. I mean, you can have a beautifully written character, but if I hate their personality, I'm not going to like their point of view. So if it's written in first person and I hate that character, I probably won't want to read it. So that always has something to do with how I enjoy a book. But so that's this one, and obviously if I recommend The Fifth Wave, you gotta finish it, right? But then, because I could not convince myself, that was close, I almost ripped the flap cover. Since I convinced myself that I did not want to read The Shadow's Heir, I picked up from my lovely friend at our local bookstore. Got this for me. I called them and asked them if they could special order it for the day that it came out, and they did, because they're awesome and I love them. So I was able to pick it up the day that they got it in, which was the day after it came out, I think. I don't know. I'm about a third of the way through the book. I haven't read it as much as I wanted to. I've been busy this last week getting things ready. I'm taking a trip here soon, so hopefully all goes well there. Since I started it in May, I'm putting it up on my wrap-up, but it's also on my TBR list for June to finish, and it shouldn't take me that long. I'm anticipating being done with it by the end of the week. That should not be an issue. I have slightly been sidetracked by Skyrim, because that happens sometimes, because it's Skyrim. And why would you? One note about these books, they do have language in them, and that is always something that I point out for any book that I read. I wouldn't say that it's over the top, but it's definitely something to be aware of. As far as anything else, I don't see any other problems with this book, so that's that. And then my to be read videos gonna end up being really long because I'm long-winded today. So at our local bookstore, which is a new and used bookstore, and it's got some other stuff actually in it. It's really awesome. They are my favorite people right now. I found the first 4 of the Percy Jackson series, which I don't know why I never heard of before. I think I got sealed in some kind of, I don't know, time capsule, or maybe I've just been hidden under a rock my entire life. But, like, I don't know. There's all these book series. I'm like, what? How did I never hear of any of this? Where have I been? But granted, I didn't really have a lot of internet access until in my late teens, so considering that, that's probably why. But anyway, TBR for June, I have a classic. There you go, now you can read it. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I'm trying to read the backwards. I have just been bugged by a lot of people that I need to read this. And it's always been on my list to read, but it's like one of those, eventually I'll get to it. Kind of like Of Mice and Men, which I need to read. And I have a copy. It's at my house. I just need to read it. It's just one of those things like, yeah, but I kind of want to read this one first. But so I put it on my to-be-read list for this month, so I have to read it this month. It's not that big. I mean, what? 177 pages? 179 pages? Hold that thought. 179 pages and they look like that. I mean, that would be like reading the ocean at the end. I should be able to get this done in a day. And then, because my brother and my sister-in-law will not leave me alone about this, and also I have a couple friends who won't leave me alone about this, and this is something I meant to read like 3 years ago. Ender's Game. And I'm pretty sure that there's several other books in this series, but this is the only one that I'm focusing on right now. Mainly because it looks like that. And that's dense. That's a lot of words. The pages are small, but there's a lot of words. And there's... oh, he looks like a nice guy. I just saw his picture. 324 pages. So realistically, this might take me a little while. Again, it's mass market paperback, and I hate reading those. I'm just like, I can't. Feel me? Alright. So, and then I have book 1 of the Percy... I really gotta stop doing that. Percy Jackson series, The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Very excited to read this book. I want to kind of get into all of his books because I have always been fascinated by Roman, Greek, Norse, and Egyptian mythology. I love studying all of that stuff, even though I don't believe any of it. But I love the study of it. I find it really, really fascinating. So, looking forward to reading all of those. And next on the list, it actually already has a bookmark in it, but that is The Girl of Fire and Thorns. And this has been on my to-be-read list for a while, and I'm just throwing it on there for June. I'm hoping to get it finished. It's not a super high priority. I'm kind of sharing the book with my sister-in-law, so we'll see how it goes. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Doesn't look like it would take too long to read. I was told it was a really good story, and that people thought I would like it. So we'll see what I think. And then... this is kind of one of those, I really hope I get this far, but I probably won't, books, is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I've been told that this book is extremely awesome, and I want to read it, but probably not this month. I don't know, I hope I get there. If not, it'll definitely be on my July TBR. July is a super busy month, though. So is August, actually. But anyway, that doesn't matter, because I'm going to read these. So that's it for my wrap-up and TBR. Sorry this video is so long, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.